Do you know how to manifest? Have you ever thought about manifesting? Because while we're on the subject of talking about our spirit, it is a little bit on the spiritual consumerist side to be manifesting, because the idea of spirituality is really to sort of strip ourselves bare, where we haven't got our ego, we haven't got our personality. It's definitely not about trying to get more stuff. But on the other hand, when there is something that we want to aim towards, when there's a different life that we're seeking, we might as well try to manifest it, right? So I just want to give you a little lesson on how to manifest in case you didn't know. So the thing is that when you experience something, you make an assessment of that experience. Let's say it's raining. You experience being wet. You're having an experience of it. But your system only knows that you're having the experience because of your mind. So let's say you're out in the rain, but you imagine that you're in sunshine and you're dancing in the sunshine and you're not having any contraction, you're not having any notion of being wet. You're purely in the sunshine, even though it's raining. Your system is not going to know the difference. So, if you do a meditation or something, where a guided meditation where you're in your happy place, you're lying on the beach, you can feel the sand beneath your toes, you can feel the sun on your skin. That's a manifesting technique. And so I want you to remember, if you've ever done that, that this is the way to do it. So what you have to do to make something happen is it's got to feel like it is happening in here. You've got to have the vibration of it here inside you before it happens in the outside world. But if let's say you wanted to, let's say manifesting money was your subject, let's just say. So you have to be a match for that wealthy person that you want to become. But how do you do that when you're not that person? You have to basically imagine that you are that person so that your system thinks you're that person, and then you give off that vibration. Now, here's a negative example of how that works. When I was a child, I was deemed to be really fat. It was the subject. My mum had like certain subjects that she was very passionate about, and my body size was one of them. And so I grew up always believing that I was just fat and that's just how it was. And then when I was giving birth, I was 25 years old. I wasn't fat at this point. The nurse that was tending me when I was giving birth, literally said how fat I was. She refused to push me in a wheelchair because she said I was too fat. My partner asked her how long it would take for a substance, a drug they were giving me to take to kick in. And she said, oh, well, it's going to take a long time because of Auntie's so fat. And I literally wasn't. I wasn't any fatter than any other person. But this aura of fatness was totally, totally in me, literally to the extent that someone could pick that up. Now, what about if I hadn't been raised with fatness? What about if I'd been raised to believe that I was beautiful, for example? Then that would have been in me just as deeply, and everybody around me would have treated me like I was beautiful, even if I had looked exactly the same as I looked. So, if we want to manifest something, we have to really deeply, deeply believe it. So, what I would suggest you do is you just see yourself in the scenario that you want to be in, and you have to make it very, very vivid. So, let's say it was wealth, coming back to the notion that it was wealth that you were wanting to manifest. You have to see yourself in a wealthy position to the nth degree. And wealth is a bit of a broad thing. That's a bit of a, you might want to just, it's a bit of a broad umbrella. And you might want to narrow it down into something very specific. Maybe you want a big house. So you want to be able to see yourself in that big house. You want to be living and breathing in yourself with your eyes closed, probably imagining that house, walking around it. What does the floor feel like? What happens out the window? What does it smell like? You need to engage yourself on all the different levels. So that's all five senses. What can you hear? What can you see? What can you smell? What does it feel like? What does it taste like? You've got to get those five in place. And then you've got to be with your other senses, the senses that are not the formful senses. What does it feel like to be there? How am I going to be when I'm there? Who's going to see me there? Who am I going to invite round? What colour am I going to paint the room? What kind of bed am I going to have? You have to do it to the nth degree. And when you've done that, you do it to some degree. I mean, really, you have to invest yourself fully in it. People often don't like to invest themselves completely because what about if it doesn't happen? Then I'm going to be disappointed. That is a risk you take. But you give yourself the best chance of it happening by immersing yourself 100% in that. And once you've done that, once you've done your immersion, you're in it, when you come out of it, you spend maybe, you could spend half an hour really feeling it, really making it true, making it very real, so that your whole system, your body, all the aspects of you feel it to be true. They don't question it. Then you start to have a vibration about you that makes you a match for the kind of thing that you're looking for. Now, once you've done that, once you've spent your time and you've done it and you've got that under you, as it were, the next thing to do is to take some physical action to ground it, to anchor the energies that you've been with in a real life sense. So let's say we've narrowed down the wealth to the big house, then you might want to do something that was to do with the house, to get some paint or to look up what paint you would use, to do something real world, to do anything real world that has got to do with that movement. And it doesn't have to be that you go and spend money on something. It can be a physical movement, like walking into your front door, imagining that it's the front door of the place you want to live in, but something of the real world. And if you do that, things start to come about. I'm not saying you just do it the one time. Another thing to add to this is when there's something you want is to sort of generally start moving in that direction. So using the house as the analogy, as the example, you might imagine furnishings for that house. You might see a rug. You might even buy a rug. Oh, that's going to be for my home later on. You might just gently over a period of time. It doesn't all have to happen all at once. You're just generally moving yourself gently in that direction. I kind of think of it as like when you want to get something out of the house, move it towards the front door. So just step by step, maybe it goes from the back of the house to the middle of the house to the hallway and then to the front door and then out the house. But that sort of movement where you're nudging yourself in that direction. And to do the manifesting regularly, to really feel like it's a place within you, it's what you want to happen. And the more you do that, you don't need to decide the how, just to say that's an important factor. You don't need to decide how this is going to happen. You are not planning the steps. You are with what's it going to feel like. Another energy that helps this to feel real to your system is the energy of gratitude. Gratitude is one of those kind of twisty energies where you can be feeling really gnarly and really not okay. And then you feel a little modicum of gratitude for anything. It doesn't have to be to do with your subject. It can be to do with the fact that you can breathe freely, that you have clean water in your taps, that it's not raining today. It can be any little thing. But using the feeling of gratitude, it kind of opens you up and it brings aliveness in a certain way to your system that then the other things can follow. So I would suggest you do the gratitude first. Feel grateful. Let yourself feel grateful for something in your life. Properly grateful, not just, oh yeah, I'm grateful that I've got a book on my shelf. But it's like, oh, I'm like, feel it, feel the gratitude of something, then go into, it's almost like, can't call it exactly a meditation. So you're making it happen. So it's not quite exactly a meditation, but it's a focal an exercise in focusing in a certain sense, but you're not in this world and you're not in another world, but you're starting to create a new world for yourself through your mind, through your imagination, through your vibration. So if you go with the gratitude, then you go with the imagination, and then you do a physical action. And you keep the physical actions moving in that direction. You want a big house, so look at big houses. As you're walking around, look at big houses. Imagine what it'd be like to live in them. Go and visit people who live in them. Look them up in the estate agent. The more you can bring it into your life, the more your system can navigate the energy of it coming in. Because otherwise it can just be a bus that goes past that you don't get on, that you don't even notice. But if you bring it into your energy system through your imagination, you've got a really good chance of making it happen. Give it a go.